Alright, we got a bunch of douche nozzles and cock waffles that when I get on here and tell me what I should be doing on my channel. And here's the thing, this channel is not for your fucking entertainment. Some people say stuff like, oh, well, if you didn't post up so much. Shit, motherfucker, I'm trying to post up everything I can. I never know when they're going to pull some screwed up crap. So, this channel, yeah, something I posted last week might be buried under 20 or 30 more of these here. More videos, more videos, more videos. But guess what? I speak out about what's happened in those videos and I try to show where the evidence is and I keep on going back to it. And people say, oh, well, you should sum it up in like half an hour. It can't. Dude, 5 years of this shit. You think that can really be summed up in 5 hours? That's fucking ignorant as fuck. But when I tell you that it can't be summed up in 5 hours and I show you all the shit, yeah, that's not going to be summed up in 5 hours. It's not going to be summed up in the 30 minutes that you want it. This is not fucking Matlock. This is not NCIS. This is not some fantasy in your head. This is not some TV show. It's real life. It's the way that it really is. And just because it doesn't fit what you want, and just because I'm not doing what you want me to do for ratings on my channel, I'm not doing this for ratings, stupid. I'm doing it to show the truth. And I get that you guys want me to suckle on some buttocks in order to try to appease you. Like you want to type the you just need to love yourself, you just need to man up, or things of that nature. Yeah, I'm not going to stick my lips on your rump hole. Just ain't going to happen. That's not helping anybody. This ain't human centipede. And I get that a lot of y'all got these sick delusional fantasies that you're in a Hollywood movie. You're not. I know some of y'all get this sick delusion that you were some military specialist that works with blah blah blah, but you're just telling fucking stories. Ain't nobody dumb enough to believe you were in the military. And you know what? To those of you who were, obviously I'm not addressing you. Yes, we all know what Jackie Chan would do. We all know what Brian Boitano would do. We all know what Rambo would do. But at this point, it's pretty obvious that we got the most active people are the Christians. And we got two different types. We've got the ones who are going to tell you pretty words but not do shit. And then we've got the ones who are hateful in the name of Jesus. Apparently, they worship the Rambo Jesus. They learn more about Jesus from Sylvester Stallone than they ever did from the Bible. Them ain't the same Jesus, feller. But you got your pretty words that you tell the victims. The pretty words that let the victim know you just straight up don't give a shit. Well, there's nothing I can do. I can't speak up. Now, there's a lady here that's been messaging me, and I've been trying to explain to her about the whole Christian thing, how I got to deal with the hateful Christians. You're going to burn in hell. You're going to burn in hell. I'll let you cut your nuts off. I'll have to cut your throat. That crazy nut job up there in Nova Scotia. Fucking A. But of course, it's easy to manipulate Christians, ain't it? You just pretend to be a Christian in it. Well, like most of the addicts that I know, they find God magically they're not addicts anymore. They found God. Mom and dad let them in because they found God. Oh, they found God. They found God. No, they're still going to steal your shit and go out and spend it on fucking meth. Plain and simple. They're pretending to believe in God to manipulate your dumb ass. Ain't my fault. Their actions show that they're not Christians. Shouldn't a Christian be Christ-like? A lot of them, when I say, hey, why haven't you come forward? Well, I'm not Jesus. You don't have to be Jesus to speak up. Your mouth ain't sewed shut. But this lady here, let me see. She was saying that she's been extremely busy covering her own ass from the douchebags in the court DA office and finding a good-ass criminal defense lawyer. This is basically, we were talking about speaking up, and of course she wants to take it to heart as if it's personally against her. And of course, I got to explain to all these people, I'm not talking about just you. If it was just you, I would address you personally. But I typed to her, and if it were just you, well, pretty close to what I just said. It says, and if it were just you, I would have addressed you about it. And we are all dealing with these douchebags. It doesn't sew a person's mouth shut. If we wait until our lives are perfect to speak up, we will never speak up. And she typed, yep. So it's not that people can't. It's not that they're incapable. You can use your mouth. You are capable of using your mouth. Many of these people that are on my YouTube channel that are mad at me because they didn't want their shit posted, they didn't want it on YouTube, they didn't want people to know they're this is that's and the others. Well, you know what? They could have come forward about the parts that, well, were important to my situation, the things that pertain to my case, instead of course, making every excuse not to. When it got to the point where I was literally willing to pay people $20 an hour to help me, I didn't have, let me show you this fucking big mess here. And obviously it's a lot more organized than it was, but I don't have a filing cabinet. I've been writing stuff up, and my sister's been stuffing stuff in all sorts of different areas, and it's good to have that help finally. But her words are important. If she don't use her words and she don't speak up, it doesn't make a difference. And how hard is she going to fight? How hard is she going to be able to fight? Now, obviously, with what my sister's going through, all I've seen evidence of so far is vandalism. And that's not to say that there is not something else going on there, but there's a lot of stuff that if you don't have things set up in the right way or the right place, it doesn't do you any good. Like if you've got a car that follows you everywhere and you have a dash cam or a camera in your rear window, you can record that, yeah, that person has followed you for 6.5 miles out to Walmart and back to your house. Yeah, then you can prove it. If someone's messing around with your video cameras, you can point them at each other. If someone messes with this one, this camera catches it. If someone messes with this one, this camera catches it. And, it's very different for me having people tell me that that's the same as what I'm going through. It's extremely dismissive. Like, I don't understand why I need to care about all these threats where they're threatening to kill you and your entire family. Well, if you're related to me, you really should. You really should. If you're going to say, well, I got my own stuff going on, well, a lot of people don't get the situation. If you're going to spend 20 hours looking at evidence, let's hope it's actual evidence. I mean, if it's evidence that your internet provider is, down for a couple hours a week, or evidence that it got cold outside, so your camera's not recording properly, or evidence that was windy outside, or evidence that there was a glare from a street light, that's not something you can take to the police. It also makes me question somebody's sanity when, like, basically that's the equivalent of chasing meth shadows at that point. When you think that everything that's going wrong is because of something crazy like that. And, you know, maybe it is crazy. Maybe it is actually happening. But what I'm dealing with is actual physical evidence. I'm not trying to chase ghosts. And a lot of y'all do believe in ghosts. I get that. A lot of y'all do believe in aliens. I believe that there's aliens. I don't think that they're coming to our planet and sticking probes up cows' backsides, but, you know, I'm not going to leave out the possibility, I guess. The reason I believe in aliens is because, well, we've got evidence of microbial organisms and some pretty big asteroids. Now, obviously, those things were incinerated coming into the atmosphere, but yeah, there's definitely single celled organisms out there, out in outer space. There's no way that there isn't. I'm not going to say that there's life as advanced as ours. I'm not going to say that there's, four legged animals running around, and some of them eat plants and some of them eat the other animals. I'm not going to say that stuff like that is going on other planets. I've never been to another planet. And a lot of people want to go into crazy conspiracy theory shit like the aliens did it. It's the Illuminati. None of these people did the shit that they did because the Illuminati. They did it because they were selfish and they didn't want their friends or family to get in trouble, which is something I fully understand. Now, there's a big difference between having evidence that when someone offers to help you and then you're both blocked from talking to each other. That's as simple as a screenshot. Yeah, you're blocked from talking to this person. You're like, that's weird. They literally just offered to help me and now we're blocked. And then I get a hold of them later. I run into them, like, for example, there's a guy named Dan. Um, Obviously, not Shady Dan, my friend who was killed by Boulder police negligence. Um, but of course, I went to Dan after he blocked me. I was like, hey, you offered to help and then you blocked me on Facebook. He said, I didn't block you. I thought you blocked me. No, I didn't. In that situation, though, in order to prove that you're telling the truth, number one, you have to have the post where it shows that. And I did take screenshots when things like that happened. But you also need that person to come forward and say, yeah, I didn't block him. I offered to help him and then I was blocked. And obviously, it was blocked from his end too. So something screwy was going on there, whether it's Facebook algorithms or, they screwed up when they were putting in the coding to try to fix that part of it or whatever, or whether it's because the Boulder Police Department was able to get permission from a judge to dig into all my stuff like that by assaulting me and charging me with assault. These are all tricks that they can use, and the courts will just let them get away with it. They will hand you to them on a silver platter and go, you know what? He's a hobo. He don't got no rights. We don't need to worry about him. We don't care. We're getting paid either way. course, we gotta lock hobos up so that people don't see them. Americans hate to see poor people. They don't mind if you throw away the hobos. They say, oh, well, at least you're getting three hots in the cot. You're also being psychologically tortured by the guards, especially if you're in there for trying to turn in a cop. So, of course, we got these people that want to type these pretty words and think that it's fixing it. And then we got these folks who want to just assume the worst and therefore you must be guilty. And that's what I've had to deal with through all of this. Guilty until proven innocent, but you're not allowed to prove your innocence because you're called mentally ill. Therefore, because somebody with a badge who assaulted you wants to outright lie because they're trying to frame you for Natalie Bollinger's murder, it must be fine. It must be fine for her friends and family to get a hold of me and threaten to kill me and my family. That must be fine, as long as you won't look at it. Meanwhile, I've sent this stuff. Obviously, it's reaching the people that it needs to, but somehow I still have messages from police officers that tell me they couldn't see the things that obviously other people are able to. What's going on with the police department's email? Is it their email, or are these cops just being lazy pieces of shit? I get people like Kimberly Vala Martinez want to tell me shit like, people tried to help you. No, they didn't. Not how I needed it. I need you to look at the evidence and I need you to go in. I need you to go in with me when I turn in these papers. When I need to turn in a police officer, I need you on the phone with me. That's one of the old telephones I got. It's full of evidence. Police officers throughout all of this have been able to break the law in order to prevent themselves from being turned in by me, in order to prevent any of my evidence from being seen. You have no idea how many cops told me, well, as long as you got charges over your head, we can't take your statement. Don't fucking lie to me, bitch. When I was trying to tell Deputy Hammond about the threats and harassment and abuse that I was taking in this town, there were people who were witnesses to it from this town. There was Nancy Bruins, she was there and present. And then there's Richard Hawkins, he was there and present. Deputy Hammond wouldn't listen to a word I had to say. Nothing at all. He was only interested in covering for his own officers by getting randy and assholey at me over a situation that happened up in housing. I was trying to explain the situation. He simply did not care. Now then, of course, the rules are different if it's one of my predators that they go to talk to, because they went to talk to Robert Warnick after almost 3 years of threats, harassment, and assaults, as well as him stalking me to Pump and Pantry on multiple occasions after assaulting me, after being turned in to the Dual County Sheriff's Department. But then, of course, that only works in their favor. See, because instead of charging him as they should have, they charged me with bogus bullshit. They should have looked up the evidence. When the guy who assaulted me, who the cops should have done something about years ago, and I've had to post up about on my Facebook and my YouTube because they didn't do anything about it years ago, and they're still not doing anything about it. Obviously, there's a conflict of interest with me having to go to those cops, especially when Leslie Snell is friends with Robert Warnick. But it's okay, isn't it? Because I have to go in by myself. I got to pay people ungodly amounts of money for them to waste my time and get drunk and get stoned and get fucked up on meth. Like, Jesus Christ, this is not the help I need. Meanwhile, I got Christians want to type pretty shit at me. That's not fucking help. Pretty words are not help. Don't live in the past. I still have to deal with this shit, whether you want to actually look at it or not. Whether you want to look at the evidence or not, it is very real. Whether you want to pretend that I'm schizophrenic for saying that that pile exists or not, the fact is it does exist. When you say I didn't try to get help, that right there shows that I tried to get help. When you say I didn't go to appointments, I certainly did go to appointments. I shouldn't have to go to people who don't know what the hell they're doing, that just want to lie and pretend that they know what they're doing. These are not the people I should have to go to. Obviously, I've been from one end of the country trying to get help. One end of the country, I'm wasting my money to go visit people who are saying they're going to help if I show up and I get there and they're drunk. Or they're strung out on fucking meth. How is that help? That's right. It's not. A lot of people want to do the whole, this is what you should do, this is what you should do, this is what you should do. You know, you buried this and you buried that. You can't answer a simple question. Motherfucker, I already answered the question you're asking. One dude, he types to me over and over, did you kill Natalie? Did you kill Natalie? Did you kill Natalie? No, I didn't. You can't even answer a simple question. You can't even answer. Dude, I did answer the question. You can look up Natalie Bollinger's name and you can see that Joseph Michael Lopez is serving a 48-year sentence for blowing her head off. Ah, this guy typed something interesting. I think I'm going to read that. He typed to me, let's see, what did he type? He typed, he calls himself, they call me Gator. And he said, Sean David, nobody said that the homeless isn't treated horribly. Believe me, they are. But are you trying to say this right here wasn't racial profiling? That's exactly what I'm saying. This is about Zaid Atkinson. They assumed that he was homeless because of the way that he was dressed and because of what he was doing. You know, if he was dressed like he went to see you instead of going to the fucking hippie college, things would be different. A lot of the people from the hippie college, and that's what they call Naropa in Boulder. It's the hippie college. Um, One of the therapists I went to see, her name's um, God, what is it? It's Nicole something or other, not Nicole Peralta. She's the one from here. Um, oh my God, I can't believe I can't remember her name because she was almost my girlfriend once, if you could believe that. And I can't even remember her last name. Fuck it. It don't matter. But yeah, that's the thing that pisses me off about Zaid Atkinson. He knows that this is how the homeless are treated in Boulder. But BLM wanted to push it. And in order for BLM to push it, well, it's got to be pushing the race thing. It's got to push the race thing. Elijah McClain was killed because he was black. No, Elijah McClain was killed because he was autistic. The thing is that it wasn't um, racial profiling, it was homeless profiling. And I'm going to type that to him. It was homeless profiling. They were wrong about him being homeless. That's the thing, is that they thought they would get away with it. They thought he was just a hobo. There's a couple of homeless people that I know there that carry around buckets and pick up garbage. A lot of people do that. One of the reasons for homeless people picking up garbage is because we got high school kids, like when Natalie Bollinger was in school, and they want to come down and basically trash the area that homeless people are hanging out in. And they want to come down and they want to hang out and mingle with a bunch of homeless people that they really shouldn't be there. Those kids should not be there. Most of them come from broken homes. They're down there because they feel somewhat accepted by the people down there. But at the same time, they're fucking trashy kids. They're not going to pick up their Snickers wrapper. They're going to leave it where they dropped it and they're going to go away. And then the cops are going to come by and give a homeless person a littering ticket. Happens all the time. You guys hate poverty. They're allowed to target the homeless because you hate poverty. All the stuff that people use as excuses why the Native Americans deserve this stuff, or black people deserve this stuff, or Jews deserve this stuff. They stuff all that shit onto the homeless. Well, the homeless are all mentally ill. The homeless are a bunch of thieves. The homeless are a bunch of drunks and alcoholics and all. Shit, I know more alcoholics in houses than I did on the streets. Hell, I met more alcoholics in Chapel, Nebraska than I met on the streets. This town's nasty. It's full of people who get drunk in the name of Jesus, hate each other in the name of Jesus. Really, what it comes down to in a town like this is, did you go to kindergarten here? No? Then you're not part of the society here. You're not white enough. You're not local enough. You're not human enough. Then there's the fact if one person in your family screws up, whether they screwed up or not, well, that comes down on your reputation too. And I keep reading this stuff from people saying, we need to do better. We need to do better. We'll work together. Work together. Of course, BLM don't want to be associated with mental illness, and BLM don't want to be associated with homeless, do they? Fuck no, of course not. A lot of people told me, hey, you need to fight for BLM. They're fighting for our rights. No, they're fighting for racist rights. These are not rights. These are special privileges for skin color. We've already had those laws passed every decade for like the last 60 years. Obviously, them laws aren't doing shit. They're just pissing people off. Because after all of those special rights that are granted to black folks, they're still being murdered by the police. Obviously, it's time to stop focusing on that shit and start focusing on actual enforcement. How do we make people do their jobs? We're paying out millions of dollars, our taxpayer dollars, all right? Every time that the police get busted doing this to somebody in a house, like Zaid Atkinson, where they screwed up, assumed he was homeless, and if you've watched the whole video, it's pretty obvious to anybody with half a fucking brain that these goddamn cops thought he was homeless and that they were going to get away with it. By the time they realized how badly they'd screwed up, it was too late. And between admitting that this is their protocol and that they treat every homeless person like this and worse, and throwing away Mr. Smiley because he's a racist, well, it's just easier to get rid of Mr. Smiley, isn't it? Meanwhile, the family of one guy that I know who was falsely arrested in Boulder, his family got over $3 million. I personally knew the guy. He was always good to me, and I was always good to him. But then after the situation with Natalie, that guy wanted to pretend I was some sort of a horrible monster and he didn't know me and I was never good to him and so on and so forth. And I got to tell you, he got his karma. That dude's dead. He was not killed by police. He committed suicide. Like I said, boys commit suicide at 5 times the rate of girls. Now, looking into his story, he lived a lot of similar shit to what I did. His family was shit to him, and they got $3 million. Did the police pay that? Did the Boulder City Council or the city of Boulder pay that? No, they didn't. Your tax dollars paid that family. Your tax dollars paid Zaid Atkinson to pretend that he was targeted for the color of his skin. Because if people knew he was targeted because he was assumed to be homeless, they'd go, well, we got to keep this safe from the homeless. He was just doing his job and checking it out. No, that's not doing his job. These guys are fucking Nazis nationwide. If you are homeless, you are not considered a human being to the residents of this great nation. Now then I got to deal with stupid people who want to make outrageous claims, like Kimberly Bala Martinez claiming that my mother tried to help me. No, you've already heard from my sister. My mother didn't try to help me. She didn't give two fucking shits.